Trump's mass deportation plans are set to begin in major cities, but could face immediate backlash. Just last night, a San Diego county voted to deny aid to federal immigration enforcement. But News Nation is now confirming some migrants are starting to leave on their own, attempting to self-deport ahead of the second Trump presidency. And in the past few years, the U.S. has seen the largest immigration surge in American history, with an annual average of close to 2.5 million people. And that's just from 2021 to 2023.
Gang, you won't believe it. It's already happening. The mass deportations that President Trump has promised on day one of his presidency have already begun. We've got a brand new report out that's revealing a mass surge at the border, but this time that surge is going the other way. He's not even in office yet, gang, and it's already happening. We've got the latest. This is going to absolutely blow you away. Welcome, everyone. Come on in, one and all. I am your host, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to celebrate with you the rise, the dawn of the new American golden age that you made possible on November the 5th. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. And, you may just want to butter some popcorn for this one. You may have seen this from CBS News a few weeks back. It was a report on the Haitian migrants, particularly those in Springfield, Ohio, that were at the center of controversy during the campaign. It was a report detailing how a number of these Haitian migrants had decided, heck with it. They were just going to go back to Haiti before Trump's inauguration. They weren't going to stick around. They were not at all confident that Trump would be anywhere near as accommodating to them as the Biden administration has been. And so a number of these Haitian migrants, according to CBS, planned on leaving the country by January. Well, as it turns out, that self-deportation is becoming somewhat of a pattern of late. And no, I'm not talking about Ellen DeGeneres permanently moving to the UK. I mean, my condolences to our dear friends across the pond. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a trend that's happening among particularly illegal migrants who are increasingly cutting and running. They're not taking their chances with the incoming Trump administration and the promised mass deportations. They are taking the advice of the incoming border czar, Tom Homan, who is like the very definition of man. I mean, that guy walks into a room, I'm just like, it looks so pathetic. So they are taking the advice of border czar Tom Homan, and they are in effect deporting themselves as we speak. Take a look at this report.
What more are you learning about these apparent self-deportations?
Yeah, so what we're learning here, Nicole, is that migrants who are going through their asylum proceedings are actually cutting things short on their own, and they're finding ports of entry and they're trying to leave ahead of the possibility of Trump removing them. So migrants are actually finding Border Patrol agents or CBP officers, and they're asking them if they can leave. Here's the deal, though. Because those migrants are in actual legitimate proceedings, DHS really has no bearing here. They're in the court's hands right now. So all CBP can do is advise that they walk back to Mexico through a port of entry. They have that legal right to do that. Now, one man from Venezuela told agents that he was trying to get out before Trump gets in, and says that he heard there was an agreement with Mexico and Venezuela where they are actually helping to get people back to their home country. Now, Venezuela has not taken deportation flights back from the United States for nearly a year. Mexico does have a better working relationship with Maduro, and that might be a possibility for this young man. Now, we called the migrant stepfather in Pennsylvania, who confirmed that the migrant went back to Mexico to continue his journey to Venezuela. Interesting here, though, because they are in proceedings already, they are not self-deporting, they are self-departing. However, an immigration attorney that we talked to says that move is essentially the same thing, and they essentially issue a deportation order against themselves when they do this, and they likely will have issues coming back in if they have a valid hearing. Take a listen.
They are probably not going to be able to get back in to reapply or to start the process over. It's in many of these, asylum included, you kind of get one chance. And if you give up halfway through, you don't get to come back and ask for asylum again. You'll be put into a different type of proceeding and you won't have asylum available to you.
In moments of emergency, you don't have time to hesitate. Whether you're deep in the wild hunting or living off the grid, you need to be prepared for anything life throws your way. That is why you need the Wellness Company's Field Emergency Kit. It's the most robust, personal, urgent care, giving you the edge when seconds count. Packed in an IP67 military-grade, waterproof, and dustproof case, this kit isn't just built tough, it's built to save lives. Inside, you'll find life-saving antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitic, non-addictive pain relief, and even a generic EpiPen for critical allergic reactions. With over 60 conditions covered, this kit stands ready when medical help is miles away or simply not an option. Each kit includes an 85-page medical guide written by the Wellness Company's medical boards, guiding you step by step to handle emergencies with confidence. Designed for adventurers, survivalists, and anyone who refuses to leave their safety to chance, gear up with the Field Emergency Kit today, because when the unexpected happens, you won't just survive, you'll conquer it. Click the link below or use code Turley to save up to $180. If you're the man of the house, this is the perfect gift to ask for this holiday. Digital gift cards are available. Click on that link below right now. So, of course, all of this is coming as President-elect Trump is promising those mass deportations on day one. But obviously not all illegal migrants are self-deporting. Some of them are actually seeking refuge in sanctuary cities across the country. We've got reports on that where they're simply relocating, hoping to hide out under the protection of more accommodating mayoral administrations. The irony, even with that, is that we're already seeing a number of once professed sanctuary cities buckle under the socioeconomic pressures and the mass chaos that the migration to their cities has caused. We all know New York Mayor Eric Adams, as I'm sure you know. It's been reported a number of times. He said that he will cooperate fully with the new Trump administration's efforts at deporting the illegal migrants that have been housed in New York for the last several months, ever since Texas Governor Greg Abbott began busing migrants by the tens of thousands into New York. That socioeconomic chaos has completely imploded Adams' commitment to making New York a sanctuary city. And we can be sure he is not the only mayor who will capitulate. And for those sanctuary city mayors who are thinking about standing up to Trump on mass migration or on the mass deportations, Homan's got a message for them. Check this one out.
Real quickly, what happens to a mayor or a local police department chief that is under Democratic leadership that obstructs ICE in your federal agents that are helping get these deportations? What happens to them?
Well, first of all, if they don't want to help us get the hell out of the way, we're going to do it. If I got to send twice the amount of resources to that city, that's what we're going to do. If they would give us access to the jail, that would mean less agents in the community. For them pushing back and not letting us in the jail, it just means more agents are going to be in the community, so they're hurting themselves. Finally, I'll say this. They need to educate themselves. They need to review this. Title 8, United States Code 1324, III. Read about that and don't cross that line, because it is a felony to harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE. Read the statute, don't cross that line.
That's a warning from Tom Homan right there.
Yeah, that is a warning from Tom Homan right there. And he doesn't seem to be the kind of guy that gives false warnings, does he? Now, this doesn't mean that the Biden administration is going to make this easy. They're already doing everything they possibly can to try to frustrate these efforts. You may have seen this. This is fascinating. It's being reported by the Daily Wire. Apparently, the Biden administration is ordering truckloads of unused border wall materials to be hauled away from the Arizona border and taken up north to a government auction site where people can bid on the entire border wall segment for as low as $5. I kid you not. This is reportedly an ongoing operation. One Border Patrol agent estimates that upwards of a half a mile worth of wall is being transported out of Arizona every day. I mean, it's just a petty, pathetic stunt that the Biden-Harris I should omit Harris. I mean, I should just say Biden. They don't even talk to each other anymore. It's just a petty stunt that the Biden administration is pulling to just be an annoyance to Trump. Well, annoyance, but I mean, this is going beyond annoyance. Remember back in the day when members of outgoing administrations would just steal the W, right, from all the computer keyboards? Remember that back in 2000? Well, now they actually, now they're provoking World War III before they leave, or they're selling off building material that would have been used for a border wall. I mean, these people are just beyond pathetic. Look, nevertheless, it does increasingly look like city residents have had enough of this nonsense, and therefore the future of sanctuary cities is not. In Chicago, a city that the ultra-radical cultural Marxist mayor Brandon Johnson is doing his best to destroy, residents recently gave him an earful over what they think about his sanctuary city policies.
You took an oath to uphold the Constitution. Or when you took an oath, was it only intended to fight for the 10th and 14th Amendments regarding illegal aliens? You guys fighting for some illegal aliens who haven't put a dime in this country. This falls on you.
We don't want illegals in our community. We don't want migrants terrorizing our own people. And to have y'all sit up here and say, we have to accept $70 million being given to them when you got black people who are already struggling and need help, it is a disgrace.
It's a disgrace, absolute disgrace. I mean, can you even imagine how you would respond to that? What do you mean you don't want lawbreakers in your community? What do you mean you don't want illegal people living next to you? I mean, it is an absolute disgrace. I mean, not only non-citizens. I mean, if you think this through, it's not only non-citizens that are getting the priority here, but illegal non-citizens to boot. Illegal non-citizens are blatantly people who blatantly and knowingly and deliberately broke the law. They are being treated with more care and with more attention than are the tax-paying citizens. It is a disgrace. And this is why we're seeing so many voters in urban areas begin to turn to the right. It's been a phenomenon. It's been going on since 2020. But we are starting to see a very noticeable shift to the right among urban populations. New York City, particularly the Bronx, shifted right in 2024. Los Angeles, Miami actually went Republican. Miami-Dade went Republican for the first time, I believe, since 1984. Chicago, Las Vegas, Cleveland, El Paso, they all shifted right. And we just talked about the huge upset in Baton Rouge, Louisiana last weekend. A Republican did the unthinkable. He beat the incumbent Democrat in the mayoral race in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Baton Rouge, as I'm sure you've guessed, has been a solidly blue Democrat city. No longer. The electorate there, if you can believe it, swung an astonishing 21 points to the right after the Republican candidate promised to restore law and order to the city. Back on November 5th, the radically progressive district attorneys backed by George Soros, they lost 13 of the top 25 races across the nation, even in some of the deepest blue strongholds. For example, that included Republican turned independent Nathan Hochman in the city of Los Angeles. He crushed their ultra-liberal Soros-backed DA George Gascon by a humiliating 23 points. And what we're seeing here really is nothing less than a mass rejection, or an increasingly mass rejection among urban populations of the implementation of woke policies in the guise of what's commonly called as anarcho-tyranny, or more commonly called. I never heard it too much until a couple of years ago. And now more and more people are using that, which I'm really happy about. We've been talking about this a lot of late, especially in light of the whole Danny Penny acquittal, but as part of its political application, wokeness implements what's called an anarcho-tyrannical system. It's a strange combination of legal exemption for some. At the same time, you have legal weaponization for others. So it's a bizarre amalgamation of legalism and license. So anarcho-tyranny recasts the criminal as a victim and the law-abiding as criminals. Since the law-abiding supposedly perpetuate a racist system by virtue of their acquiescence to the law, by virtue of their abiding by the law, right? Silence is compliance, right? Well, the irony here is that even urban populations are now ironically finding themselves on the wrong side, the tyrannical side of anarcho-tyranny, because now the oppressor binary is manifesting itself in non-citizen citizen terms, with the illegal non-citizen filling the role of victim, and they're victims of unjust laws and practices that urban voters, urban citizens inadvertently perpetuate. So obviously, wokeness entails its own futility. It's an absolutely unsustainable system. And we can only hope that in view of its inevitable demise, that it too, like these increasing number of illegal migrants, will self-deport.